And good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon, otherwise known as Luke, 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch and relatively new owner of a 3D printing store. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. Uh, hey, Chewy, how's it going? Hey, Phantom, how's it going? So, Chewy, you're talking about, am I ready for Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Festival? Well, I'm ready for Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Festival. I'm just not able to go. Uh, I don't think Digital Dragon is going to have a representative at Rocky Mountain Rep Rat Festival this year. Just a lot going on both here at the store and also, yeah, I am a lot of the reason why I have been not on stream for a while. Uh, yeah, hey Liz, hey Kevin. Um, so I'm really busy with the store and getting this off the ground and doing a lot of things with the store. But also just health wise, I've been dealing with a little bit the last few weeks. My sinuses are all boogered up, and I'm going to wind up having surgery on April 8th. And I'm not going to be cleared to fly. And with having the new store open, I'm not going to be able to take like a week off to drive out and do the show and then drive back. Um, hey, Projects at Dodge Garage, how's it going? This thing on, starting to feel lonely. Uh, yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here. I think there's a lag over on YouTube compared to the Twitch. So I'm dual streaming out of OBS, and I believe Twitch is the primary stream, and then it's buffering and sending it over to YouTube. There's a slight lag between what I'm seeing. Hey, Eagle, how's it going? Um, yeah, yeah, health is more important. That is true. Um, so yeah, we're dealing with some of that. Like I said, it's just seasonal allergies actually are making it a little bit worse right now. But yeah, I've got a lot of sinus stuff, and every 3 or so years, I wind up having what I refer to as a rooter done. So it's about that time. So oh, hey, H2 Slicer. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I would love to get out there. I just don't think we're going to make it for Rocky Mountain. We may wind up having to make a special trip out there because, as a lot of you know, Eagle the Dragon, my brother in law, and my mother in law live in the Denver area, and my oldest son and his husband live in Colorado Springs. So, hey, Timor, how's it going? So it's looking right now like our first Rep Rat Festival for the year is going to be Murph up in Goshen, Indiana. I believe that's late June. I don't know the dates right off the top of my head. But yeah, doing good. Like I said, pretty busy. Lots been going on here. Some of it is of my own doing, meaning, working the full-time day job, working or running a store now 6 days a week, and trying to get that up and running. Meanwhile, I've been taking classes for, there's various resources out here in Sanford, North Carolina for small business and entrepreneurship. So I've been going to a class that I just finished. It was a 9-week class, and it was all about, getting your business kicked off and everything. And we did the final night last night, and so that's gone well. I've got some time now, so at least 2 nights this week I've gone home like relatively early, like I've left the shop before 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So yeah, Murph for the win. Yep. I will definitely make Murph and we'll figure it out from there. But I will be there at Murph. I'll have some cool things at Murph as well. Um, yeah, it's June 12th. Okay. I will have to write that down because I will definitely forget that. Because I know myself. June 12th. I don't know. I'll leave it there on my phone. Um, but yeah, so we've been pretty busy around here. We got in our first batch of Kitty printers, and the Kitty Q2 combos came in and left the next day. I've got the Max 4. I've got two Max 4s, two Q2s, and a Q2C, and one Q2C combo left. Everything else, it came in and it went right back out. So that's been pretty good. I've been getting a lot of calls over the last few days asking about repairs and stuff. So we're working a lot of repairs. I've been working a couple of days on and off trying to get the Raise 3D up and running, and my frustration level is up here right now. Got the new board, things were working, but we couldn't switch over between the nozzles. And I swapped out the servo with a new servo, and all of a sudden it's doing a thermal shutdown right off the bat, like it can't get any reading from the thermocouples. And I've tried 6 different thermocouples on this board to include Raise 3D parts, and I'm getting zeros and it's shutting off automatically. So I'm currently chatting with Raise 3D about that. And as soon as I mention that there is a, that it has the slice engineering thing in, they were like, oh, well, it's not us. Go talk to them about their product. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. It's not reading your thermocouple either. And I've replaced your power cable to the board, the long ribbon cable to the board, the tool head board, and I'm still getting no joy. So something's up. And this last thing was, I know I have done firmware updates, so get with your guys and figure out if the firmware updates did anything that would impact this, and if so, send me the oldest, send me an older version, and I'll try that out. But there's something like the board's not even fully booting, and I'm getting the error light on the MCU. So it's just very frustrating because I want to use the printer. The printer I know prints great when it prints great. I've seen plenty of Raise 3D stuff work. It's kind of frustrating. And of course, their controller board, they want like $400 for the controller board. At that point, I might just put a Kraken in it, done with it. H2O slicer. Me and Justin might be helping out with Luke's booth this year as RM. I'll have to see about getting out to Murph once. Me and Justin might be helping out with H2O slicer. I'm trying to put a name to the handle or a face to the handle, and I'm having a hard time. And when you say Luke, are you referring to Luke with Tugboat 3D, Luke with Big Tree Tech, Luke as in Luke's Laboratory, this Luke? I'm confused. I don't know. Um, do you own a Snapmaker U1? I do not. I do not have a Snapmaker U1. I know Ecovate 3D has one, and they're loving it. Also the PR rep for Snapmaker. So Luke's Lab. Okay, okay, that probably at least gets me a little bit closer to understanding who you are. So that's good. Sorry about that. My brain is befuddled still. And of course, it doesn't help that I'm taking Benadryl like twice a day and everything as well. So, but yeah, let's see. What have we been printing on lately? Um, we've been printing some open grid panels. Okay? Um, I've got 4 of them in black here. These are 10 by 10 panels. And I have been printing these out on a Trudon V1. So one of our local friends here, AJ, brought in a Trudon V1. So the V1, uh, so it's Lividino, which is a Formbot, I guess, brand, and Trudon um, is the model, and the V1 is a heavily inspired by Voron 2.4. Um, it uses a lot of injection molded parts, and the gantry is all metal, but it's a slightly different belt path than a traditional 2.4. So I have seen people convert them to the straight 2.4 gantry. It is something that can be done. I've had people that have just simply changed the XY joiners, um, and some of the belt pathing, which was a thought. I'll be honest with you. My machine, I probably would have, but it's not my machine. Um, but interestingly enough, the version 1 came out with a Formbot version of a Duet 2 board. So the Duet 2 only had 5 drivers. They needed 7. So it's a combination, it's a monolithic board that's a combination of a Duet 2 and a Duet 2 extender or Dux board, mashed into one. And the panel do screen was not connecting to or talking to the primary MCU board. And things just weren't working right. I was going to have to reload the firmware anyhow. So I asked AJ, I was like, hey, do you want this to be RepRap and I can upgrade it to the latest version of RepRap? Or do you want me to clipperize this thing? He said that they preferred Clipper, and we were off to the races. It has Clipper on it now. There was a way that I've seen in the past that you could run a panel do connected to a Raspberry Pi, and use that and be able to run Clipper. And this wasn't having it. It wasn't liking it. So I wound up pulling the panel do, which may actually have been 90% of the problem anyhow. Who knows? But the board's running Clipper now. It's Clipperized firmware. Got a Raspberry Pi 4 gig, Big Tree Tech Pi TFT5 touchscreen, and I did wind up putting a LRS 25.5 power supply in there, and it's rock solid. And put Clipper on it, downloaded a Clipper config for that board from somebody's online repo, and everything works. filament runout works. The BL Touch or whatever touch sensor it is works, and it's dialed in. I mean, I didn't have to set the Z offset. And I don't know if you can see how nice that first layer is. It is printing with a smooth sheet. And this thing is just printing beautifully. And these are ASA prints. And then the Cheedy Max 4 has been chugging along. I did some of those in like an off gray ABS. I'm trying to remember what color this was right off the top of my head, and I can't. So I've got a few of them like this. So we're going to do these and have these set up at various places around the shop so that we can display some stuff around the shop. Maybe some stuff back here, you never know. But yeah, those printers have been churning away. I've looked at the stealth changer a lot. It's sitting right on the end of the bench. So I've got on the top of my benches, which are the same benches I used to have behind me at the house, the Red Craftsman benches. That's my like main printer display that cuts through the cuts off the retail space from like the multi-purpose space for the maker meetups and stuff like that in the back of the shop. And it's like all of my commercial printers and then my stealth changer. So when you come right from the door, it's right in line of the front door. I've got my stealth changer, and right underneath that is Kyber Dragon, which is the LDO Rev C/D 2.4 kit. And it's kind of nice because I can say I'm turning this from this with one tool head into this, which is a tool head changer. And I've got everything there. It's just I need to bring it down and start working on the wiring. And that's probably something we may get into Saturday night-ish, maybe. We'll see. I may not stream Saturday, which means I may wind up streaming a bit Sunday. We'll have to see. So our Raven Fest, which was supposed to be in February, got canceled due to the big snowstorm we had. So that's now going to be this weekend. So Friday night we're doing our big D&D that supports the local women's battered women's shelter. And Digital Dragon 3D has made like a 2-tier tavern terrain set that can be used, and we're gonna be raffling that off as one of the door prizes there. So that's gonna hopefully get some more knowledge of us being down here and interest in us down here. What, are you creating a 3D printer empire? I created this because I have an empire. I had 32 printers at the house, and Mrs. Dragon was like, they got to go. And so we moved some of them down here and stood up the shop. In fact, I've got 6 on the back wall that's part of our mini print farm. And then I've got another math in public 8 that are sitting over here that are on display that show off my builds. So yeah. Did I break it yet? Did I break which one yet, Penguin Makers? If you're referring to the stealth changer, I think it's mechanically built. I have the clicky-clack door assembled and like ready to mount on it. And I'll have to put the rest of the panels on. But right now what I have to do is fabricate the umbilicals, and I've got... So there's the one umbilical ready to go. What I need to do is I've got this marked. I need to cut this, and I already know Do not try and use your regular flush cutters to cut this. You'll, yeah, your flush cutter will not survive. All right. So I'm going to have to take this, move this out of the way, and run a cutoff wheel and cut this spring off. And then this will be my first umbilical, and we'll get it up and running with one tool head. Once we can make sure that it works with one tool head and prints and all that, then we'll finish the rest of them out. I was starting to put these together and, decided other things took a priority. Like, one of the things I still need to do is put the prototype Pica for an Elegoo in my Elegoo. I've got it built. I just need to put it in there. Projects galore. I've got 2 of these. So we're going to have to put one of these together. That'll be a project we'll do on stream. My wife told me it was either her, my motorcycles and firearm collection, and I wished her well. Yep, I get that. I get that. Funny, my wife doesn't like firearms, and there's like 6 in the house. All under lock and key, and she doesn't have the keys. No, she said, we really need to find you a workshop. And in going out and looking at workshop space, and, I was thinking, okay, where can I put up make a studio and, work on my printers and just, basically have a quiet place where I could do that. And the more we looked, we were like, that's not going to work if there's no money coming, right? I mean, I live out, I'm fairly rural, right? We're starting to blow up a bit because everybody from the outer skirts of Raleigh that are in like Apex and Holly Springs and Fuquay Varina are starting to move out here because, well, they're building like $800 to $1.5 million homes, 15, 20 miles down the road here in Holly Springs. So they're all moving out here, and it's not inexpensive, but it's not really expensive, but it's still, there's a balance there. It's not like going out and getting a 20-foot by 20-foot storage locker that's a couple of $100 a month. This is, considerably more. So, yeah, we figured, okay, if we're going to have this space, let's look and get a good size space and sell, right? At some point, and people have asked, are you selling any of your printers? And I will, to the right person that talks to me about it, because they know that printer style. My fear would be selling a printer to somebody relatively new that wouldn't know how to troubleshoot it, because, I mean, if you get a Flash Forge, an Elegoo, a Keyty, or Bamboo, or any of those, there's going to be online tutorials, there's going to be wikis, stuff like that. You get a custom-built Voron, and who do you go back to, right? You need to finish your rat rig faster than they come out with updates, or Mandala quits making shiny parts for it. See, that's the thing. A bit nuts is there's always shinies, right? There's always shinies. I'm a Flash Forge dealer, and I'm sitting here going, oh, I need to order some more 85Xs. I'm almost out. And I'm like, but the Creality or the Creator 5 is about to drop. Like, you know, and I know it's so I'm like chomping at the bit. Like, do I buy this or do I buy that? And you know, granted, I'm going to have to get it for the store, and I'm going to eat the cost of one to put on display. So, hey, cutie pie, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So yeah, I mean that's one of those things too. Is there's always a new shiny coming out. There's that newer printer that they had showing off at Smurf that had the nozzle rotary and it was changing nozzles. You know, that's kind of neat, but I need to look at that. You know, some of that's really neat. Some of that stuff, and we won't name names, but they have a swapping rack system for tool changes. And I've talked to 3 people now that have those machines that have had weird problems. Right? Hey, Matt Al, how's it going? How's it going? You put down the $10 deposit for it? Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, there's a part of me that wants to do that. And then there's a part of me that knows that if I do that, that's money that I won't have to, as it sounds, put into this if, you know, if I run short one month, right? Besides, I'm going to buy them for the store and sell them, so I'm going to eat one for display anyhow. So I've got to keep thinking like, hey, don't just buy shiny. I got to be smarter about it now. Like I've got to adult again or something. But yeah, we're still going to do some builds. We're going to be doing some repairs and working on machines. We have tinkered around with the idea of swapping out our Elegoo's because we got a bunch of Elegoo's on the back wall for our internal print farm, and they're great machines and they've got plenty of time on them. But we're toying around with the idea of, because we don't carry Elegoo, swapping them out for the Q2s, which are roughly the same size, but provide a little bit bigger build volume. So GoPrint is a total disaster, but they have an idea for a 4 tool head bed slinger, 4 independent tool heads. It's a fantastic idea. I wouldn't touch another CoPrint if your life depended. You know what? A bit nuts. I actually have a CoPrint set sitting at the house. Waters over at Ecovate had one and gave it to me, and I had picked up a CR10 E3, I think, from them new in box, and I was planning on putting the CoPrint on it and seeing how that worked out. That's still the thought, and I'm gonna have to bring that machine in here because I might need to harvest one of the motors out of it. I got somebody that came in needing a motor for a, let's see if I can get this right, Ender 3 V3 KE. And I did not have a Creality motor, but I got a plethora of other Amos 17 motors over there. Said, we'll take one. And I sold one. And he's like, okay. I took the X motor out and it's got a pressed on bearing or a pressed on pulley. Can you help? I'm like, yep, bring it on down to here. And I've got a tool that I can remove the pulley with and press it back on to another motor. So it would break even when the power is off. See, that's the thing a bit nuts. I've heard that about the CoPrint. I know there was a lot of hype on it, and I know a lot of people bought into them, and then I've heard a lot of people have frustrating experiences with them. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm not even 100% sure I have all the parts to this one because it wasn't like it was in box. So, hey, Wick, how's it going? Hopefully you're doing well tonight. So yeah, there's some things that we're going to play with. Like I said, I think, yeah, I'm sitting here like, I think life's not, it's going to be another couple weeks before life starts slowing down a little bit more. After surgery, that will help. Uh, just the next couple of weeks. I'm having surgery, what, 10 or something? No, more than that. About 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks away. I'm having surgery. And next week, I've got 3 doctor's appointments, and I've got 3 doctor's appointments that includes an annual physical the morning of my surgery and then surgery that afternoon. So it's yeah, going to be crazy. All right, a bit nuts. I'll reach out to you. I'm sure I can find you somewhere. You can find me on Discord. I'll see if there's anything I'm missing. Screws and stuff like that. I probably have them over here, but if it's anything else or major, I'll let you know. But yeah, we've got lots of repairs coming in and coming through. We've got a couple of custom upgrades that we're doing for some people. We've got we had a somebody brought in a design that they wanted. It was to celebrate the United States 250th anniversary. And they're part of the Moore County Republican Party. So they had like Moore County Republican Party, and it had America and this nice design in it. And it's like a 10-inch circle design. And we took the SVG, we got it into a STL file and got it worked out, printed it out, and gave them a couple of prototypes because what they were going to do is they're trying to get it to look like leaded glass, and they're filling the inside in with different color resins. And so I've got a picture of it. I'll post it up on my Discord if I can get permission from it. But it looks just like a stained glass window. And I just got some information back from them where they wanted to make some changes, and the people that they were doing these for, they're going to be used as table ornaments that then they can take them back after some event. And they were actually told, hey, can you make it a little bit smaller and go ahead and take the Moore County Republican Party off of it and just leave it as the US 250. And I'm like, sure, we'll gin that up. And it's looking like we're going to be printing like 50 to 70 of them for this event. So we're going to be printing like mad through the first like 3 weeks of April to get those done and then get them out to them. And they need to be done on flat PEI sheets, because any type of texture, and they won't get a good seal around the bottom when they put they're putting a bottom material on it to keep the resin from running underneath. And so but it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that one. And we've done several other custom design projects for some people. So some things are starting to pick up. Your brother's a doctor, started going to faith healing. Oh, that's good a bit. 250th anniversary will only apply if Trump doesn't decide to skip the November elections. I don't want to get into the politics. Okay. I'm just going to say, political affiliations aside, as long as it is not way out there crazy, I'll print things, right? I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, uh, whatever, right? It's a print job. Comes in, I print it. If it's controversial, I may still print it. I just may not print it during open hours. Nobody's ever going to see it but that customer, or I will print it off site. But paying job's a paying job, right? Rhinoceros party for the rent for the win. Yeah, exactly. Nothing hateful, please. That's the thing. Is you know, as you guys know, I am an Air Force veteran, and part of my job is to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and I'm I'm agnostic in those matters, right? I've got the ability to compartmentalize between my personal beliefs and what goes on around me. So you're with the flying spaghetti monsters. Yep. Hey, we all get flying spaghetti monsters occasionally. Um, yeah, money is money. Now, like I said, there will be jobs that I'll be no. Like I said, there is some hateful stuff out there, and I'm not going to do that. And when I say uh, some questionable stuff, like there are items that people may ask to be printed that I just don't feel should be visible in a place of business where, don't know about you guys, but I've had, earlier today, I had a guy come in with his 3 kids, and Mrs. Dragon, one of them was crying. Mrs. Dragon picked one of the twins up and carried him around while she was showing him the filament. You know, we get a lot of kids in here, and there's just certain things that, you know, are adult oriented, whether it's the words on the print that's being used or what have you, that just needs to be printed somewhere else. Doesn't need to be visible, you know? That's it. So, yeah, maybe you have so many parties in Canada, hard to catch up. Well, and that's the thing. You know, Liz, down here, it's interesting, and you probably know some of this because you're close enough. Um, Two-party system. We have Democrats and we have Republicans, but there's all kinds of factions within those 2 larger parties. It's just crazy. The only thing is we, like Canada and England have so many different parties, and you get somebody elected, but they have to create this quorum for their cabinet, based on how many people got to, and it's just crazy. Yeah. The ones that matter most are the ones that are local to you. Those are the people that are going to affect your daily lives the most, right? Your federal stuff, it's transitory, right? But regardless, we'll leave that topic alone. But yeah, like I said, we're working on the Raise 3D a little bit. I did sit there and flip it over and look at all the power connections and realize that one of the grounding connections was a little loose. So I went ahead and tightened that down really well. But I'm still not seeing it, because that was the other thing I was thinking was that a grounding issue? So I'm frustrated with that, and I really want Raise 3D to come back and be like, okay, X should solve this. And if X solves it, great, I'm happy. But unfortunately, it's like having, a Stratasys or what's the big one? Formbot or something like that, where we use proprietary boards, and we're the only one you can get the boards from. And so our boards are $400. You know, no offense. I've got plenty of Prusas, but you know, a basic INC board, like $130. Seriously? You know, granted that's $130 like all in ship and before tariff stuff and crap like that. But that's kind of crazy when you're sitting there looking and going, like an SKR can run, you know, for like $40. So I'll play around and dig with it a little bit more, and eventually I might just say the heck with it and do a nuclear option and rebraid it and redo a bunch of cables. That'll be another day. Spring cleaning about to scrub the kitchen floor. Hey Liz, do you want to come down and visit? Free room and board. You know. I kid. I kid. You're welcome to visit though. Like you're welcome to visit, but no need to clean. But yeah, I just wanted to sit down and gab for a little bit. Like I said, I've got a couple of the Corvus case kits for PCs. I do have a spare PC at the house that I'll probably bring in and put into one of these. I just need to start looking at finding colors and printing. I'm sitting here looking at a whole bunch of filament. I need to print some stuff anyhow. You'll be in Memphis in 10 days. That's not too far. Not too far from North Carolina. You know, if you want to swing by. But yeah, I'll probably start printing some parts for one of these. I will get the stealth changer over here and at least working on cabling the power and everything up to the Hexa 6-in-1 board. Because once we have that, then all of the other connections should be above the deck. Right? And I'm not going to worry about putting panels or the clicky-clack door on or any of that. We're going to get it moving. Sorry about that. We'll need to go and work on getting it moving and stuff and start testing that piece out. And, you know, we'll slow roll it. We'll get one full head up and connected, get that printing. We'll add a second one. We'll start working on all the alignment configs and all that good stuff and making sure that we can get everything operational. And we'll just work through it because having done that with the black box, you know, I got all 5 tools mounted, got them all cabled up, and then you start the arduous process of calibration. And it's not necessarily hard, but it is tedious. And in that case, the black box was even a little more tedious because it was RepRap firmware and I had never done RepRap. So I was trying to learn RepRap at the same time as going through and doing a tool changer. So it's my first tool changer. It's RepRap. The physical build was easy enough. It was then starting to figure out the RepRap and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, I've reached out to the gentleman with the Trudon, and we're gonna get them an invoice so they can come and pick that one up. And they alluded that they had more printers collecting dust. So I'm going to see if they don't want to just kind of cycle them through, even if it's just once a month. And we'll get them in here and try and get some of their printers up and running again. They're another, I don't want to say they're a print farmer, but they use 3D printing to support other aspects of their business. They do a lot of powder coating, right? So I may have them do some powder coated stuff for me as well, because you guys know I have a riff, right? There's also, and I need to get that out and not get it out, but I need to well, we might get it out. It was running, it was operational. It may not be that way for long. Meaning I'm thinking seriously about stripping the electronics out and redoing the electronics to go from 2 different boards to 1 and just cleaning a few things up on it and getting it back up and going. And then it's just one of those things of why more complex than it needs to be, right? I understand the design philosophy, and that's why I was doing it. But as soon as I had to swap them all up to more recent boards, because once again, newer versions of Clipper on the SKR 1.3 boards doesn't play well. Meaning it hangs on a reset of the board. The serial port on those boards will hang. And I don't know if it's Clipper or a limitation of the board, but there's something that changed that causes that issue. You would happily pay for me to finish your rat rig? I mean, are you in? How close are you to the Raleigh, North Carolina area? A bit nuts. And your rat rig, is it a base rat rig, a hybrid, or an IDEX? Because mine's currently an IDEX, and I'm having some issues with it where the left extruder is severely under extruding. And it's weird because that one is the original tool head, and I never had a problem with it until I turned it into an IDEX. And so I'm wondering if adding the other tool head and the other heater and everything, that something isn't causing like a brownout condition or something like that, like I had experienced with the black box. Doesn't matter, close enough. Ohio IDEX with 4.1 upgrade and mucho shiny parts. And yeah, I saw the 4.1 upgrade. I really want to talk to, I see the upgrade kit. And I'm looking at the cost, and I'm like, it'd be cheaper if I'm a 4 IDEX going to a 4.1 IDEX. I think the price is for a full hybrid up. I don't know, I might be wrong, but I think there's a lot of parts that I would not need that are in that kit because I already have them, like tool heads and stuff like that. So I may need to just reach out to them, say, hey, I've got this, I want to go to this, what is the actual price? And get it shipped over. Because yeah, I did see that and I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. Did they switch PSUs in the 4.1? It's like $250 for IDEX. Okay, then maybe that's a new kit. And the only kit they had when I first looked was a full IDEX upgrade versus IDEX to IDEX. I think it's us.ratrig. Yep. 3-core 4 upgrades. 4.1 upgrade kit, hybrid. Yeah, see the IDEX upgrade is $479.68. and I'm not seeing a IDEX unless it's an option. You have two 350s with PSU, Octapro board, tube hot ends, mandala everything. Yeah, mandala is that's bad. Yeah, that's that's what's throwing me off. So what's your machine size? I have a 300. What size is yours? Okay, what machine are you upgrading from? IDEX. Okay, here, how about I do this? Let me go full display. We'll go back some. So I'm at ratrig.com. We're going to go to vCore 4 and upgrades. And I kept looking at this, which is like a $500 upgrade. Like that just doesn't make sense. And no configuration here. I think this is potentially full from a basic up to the IDEX. So if we come over here to the 4.1 upgrade kit, this is where we get into the upgrade configurator. You know, what machine size? I've got the 300. You'll have the base Core XY, the hybrid, which adds the 2 additional motors, and then the IDEX, which gives you the secondary tool head. We're going to go IDEX and then IDEX 4.1. And there you go. So the Ratrig vCore 4.1 upgrade, $299, plus the IDEX kit, $155.30. That still seems high. vCore 4, 300 IDEX to vCore 4.1, 300 IDEX. I guess, you know, I mean, there's worse ways to spend $500. Dang it, Chewy. Yeah. Well, there we go. We'll pin that message. So, website pinned at the top of chat will come out to the store. The website's changed a little bit. We've added a few pictures, some of the machines that we have out there on display and for sale. Excuse me. We're starting to get some more parts in. I need to make a couple of more orders. You know, cash flow. But hey, MakerMind Nexus, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. OSF St. Francis Hospital in Peoria. Dan, what are you doing at the hospital again? What'd you do to yourself now? I think they raised the price since I bought mine. Plus, yeah, that's true. Import duty. What an ouchie. And then, yeah. Just wanted to see what I had in stock. So Chewy, right now, what I have in stock, I've got Flash Forge Adventure 5X, which is a 220 build volume. And that is a multicolor machine with the IFS. we'll have, I've got a Cheedy Q2 combo. Now, mind you, the prices on here are for not shipping. If you want something that's big, daughter foot surgery. I believe I remember you mentioning that. My apologies for forgetting. I hope she's doing well. Hope it was nothing too serious. I've got the Cheedy Max 4, which I love. I love. You know, I know I showed you guys, I've done full dash replacement panels on that printer. So I really, really like the Cheedy Max 4. Let's go in here. We'll take a look at the shop. Cheedy Max 4, $1,050. Base printer, single filament. If you want the Max 4 combo, $1,200, and this gets you the Cheedy box. I've had 0 issues with my Cheedy box. So whatever issues they had are fixed. 390, 390, 340 build volume, active cooling. Yeah. Love this thing. Love this thing. Shipping is always extra, yep. Would you do upgrades on things before you send them out? What kind of upgrades do you want on a Cheedy or a printer? That would be the question. But yeah, that might not be a bad idea of something to do as this. I know they did change a lot of things. So that would, you know. But you know what I'd have to do then? I'd have to get Evil Diesel to help me carry that sucker downstairs and bring it down here to the shop. And then it ain't ever leaving again. Because moving that thing sucks. And what'll suck even more is moving that and the table I have for it that it sits on. And yeah, we'll have to get that down here and then put some wheels on it and get that thing working. I've actually been sitting there thinking, like, do I want to get a 500 size, or the Venture XL keeps calling my name? Yeah, get a bit nuts, you're going to make me spend money. You have a decent side van and a 5, 6 more points on my driver's license. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, well, and, you know, if Chewy can wait, you know, when I head up to Goshen, he'll be like, hey, dude, can you bring me this printer if I pay you for it? I mean, that's how I, you know, if you guys remember, I built his Fry 2.4 and then drove it up to Murph, and he came out and picked it up from Murph. And then Dan over there, MakerMind Nexus, I bought like 3 printers off of them last year. 2 or 3. The FL Sun's still at the house sitting in the living room. Hey, Star Wars bot builder, how's it going? What's up? Yeah, we're just chilling out. Just stuff like build plate, firmware tune, the little stuff. I'll be honest with you. I haven't touched my Max 4. Now, build plate, I would love, and I'm trying to. Oh, thanks for the resubscribe, Chewy. I'm talking with the Bill Eskildson, however you pronounce his name, um, about the Kadive plates. So he's kind of like a U.S. distributor for Kadive. So I'm trying to get most of my plates either directly from him if he has them in stock, or join him in bulk orders. And I've got some Kadive plates here for the bamboo 256 by 256 size. So P series, A1, P series, X series. Aquanet, only things that go on your build plate? No. Yes, Nano. I was going to say, is Nano not working? Come on. Are none of my StreamBot stuff working? Oh, Discord's working. Oh, you know what? It might be, dang it. What the hell? You know what? It might be Vision Miner. There we go. Yes, there we go, Pezlis. Thanks. Yep, Vision Miner. I don't know if I want to say hello with Aquanet. Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, Aquanet has been like the go-to adhesive for years. And Nano is kind of expensive in some places. Luke's, so I've got Vision Miner, nanopolymer, right? I don't sell these yet. I want to get them in, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it because hazardous. You gotta buy it in certain bulk, and you can only stock a certain amount without getting into other things with building permits and stuff like that. But I've got my Vision Miner, and I've got Luke's Labs two-step process. Two very good adhesives. I picked up some 3D lac from when I was over at Formnext. So I've got the 3D lac stick, right? It's like a bingo dauber. So you just take that and get it going and rub it on. 3D lac is an old school, but a goodie. And then the 3D lac plus would be, and this is a spray version, this is the stuff that you would use for like your ASAs, ABSs, some of that stuff. And then they've got special stuff for nylon. And it's almost like like nail polish or something. Crazy. Exactly. That small, like I got a sample at Rocky Mountain, and I think I used it for like 3-4 months. So, we got a hype train going on. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. For the R2 and BB-8, do they move or are they stationary? Oh, that's going to Star Wars Bot Builder. I was going to say, I've got a, what's the circular, or like the unicycle one with the cone head? I'm trying to remember. I've got that one. And I've got, we were building that one and the mini chopper. I still need to get those builds going. I want to get more of those going, and I really want to do like a full-size one. There's so many projects that I want to do. It's just finding the time. Hey, Evil Diesel, how's it going? Hope you're doing well, my dude. Hope you're doing well. We're just chit-chatting. I think we're going to do something like this. We were talking about this. But of course, um, somebody got me talking about doing this. So the Rat Rig VCore 4.1 upgrade, this is a new revision to the VCore 4. It's full metal tool head, so all of the printed parts in here go full metal, except for I think um, the cooling fan is still polycarbonate. A steel X-axis gantry, right? And a few other bits and bobs that are good. But I've got the 300 IDEX going to a 4.1 IDEX. It's not bad. Okay, do we have space at the shop? The issue there, Diesel, is we'll need to move the rat rig and its table down here, and then put the table on wheels. I think we got an extra set. If not, we'll have to do that. We have space for it down here. We can make space for it. So who's sitting in the back of the truck? You know, honestly, we could probably stick it back there and it might be held nicely with the tonneau. Kind of like I did with getting the Race 3D down here from, it'll be easier because that, remember I moved the Race 3D in the bed of the truck from Raleigh down here, down Highway 1. That was a blast. We can do it the middle of the night too. It's getting warm enough. Mesh screens for the blobs that plus an 8 hours to you. When do you want me to drop it off? I'll tell you this, probably a weekend would be better. Just because, yeah, it's, so during the week, Monday through Friday, I've got the other job, so I'm sitting in the office. I come out occasionally. But yeah, if you can bring it down a bit nuts, we'll work on it and finish building it for you. So we're pulled over for having a bomber. It doesn't look like bomb too much. Hey, Diablo Spawn, how's it going? So Evil Diesel, we're talking about moving the rat rig down here and me upgrading mine to a 4.1. A bit nuts is talking about driving his, I think he said a 400 size rat rig down here from Ohio so that I can finish building it for him. And it's got a bunch of shiny mandala rosework upgrades on it. Yeah, no, it's freaking heavy. I'll tell you that much. Like I know the 500, I think the 500 comes with wheels, doesn't it? Does it come with wheels or not? I feel like it does. 500. Sure. IDEX, why not? Air filter, yes. Give it all. $3,000. Like he's got wheels on his. I'm just not sure if the wheels come in the kit. Or you know what? They might be an accessory that you can get. or not. I feel like they should. Better than 100. What's better than 100 pounds? And see, it's just like everything else. As soon as you put wheels, it meant like those kind of wheels. As soon as you put panels on it, it becomes so unwieldy to move because it's freaking heavy, you know? It is really freaking heavy. Trust me, diesels help me move it around, and I've just got the 300 size. I can only imagine what the 500 size is like. But I keep wanting to get like a Venture XL, which I think is what, 600 by 600. And then I watched Canuck Creators video, and I need to look at or reach out and get Modbot's opinion on his. But I think like what I really need is to modify my riff. We really need 1,000 by 1,000. Dude, I wanted that Orange Storm Giga so bad. But we've got a Folgertech FT6 in the back that Lomax has over here. And let me see. That's not going to work. Where are we at? Where are we at? So here we go. So the Folgertech is something very similar, right? I've reinforced my rat rig so much to make sure it's square that you could use it as a jungle gym. Dude, mine I haven't even reinforced more than just what comes with it, and you could use it as a jungle gym. Like I've stood on the damn thing. So this is the Folgertech. So, like I said, Sandhills 3D, Lomax has one of those here, and I'm working on helping him get it back up and running. These are older machines. Of course, they're out of stock. They're, the company's not around anymore either. But, you can get the single extruder. It has a pretty big bed to it. I'm trying to remember what the bed size was. 720 by 350 by approximately 400. So, does it make coffee too? Yeah. So the nice thing with this structure, you can it's made to easily enclose from what I'm seeing. All of these side panels, the joints are like the side panels create structure, those corner pieces. So you can literally take those off, put on a full slab panel, and you've got the same structure, and it's fully done there. And there's enough size over here that I'm thinking you could probably run an internal spool holder and still have this whole thing enclosed and run an internal spool holder. But what he's wanting to do is look at enclosing, getting this up and running and then enclosing it and using this for large ABS prints like full panel pieces. What, Evil Diesel, are you talking about the spool holder on this? or which spool holder? Yeah, on this, um, honestly, what I would do here is I wouldn't run this, this type of spool holder. I would actually um, most likely run the Infiniflow system where I could run a couple of 3 or a couple of 5 kilo spools because I'd be planning on doing large parts. Um, oh, your rat rig is over 100 pounds. Yeah. You have 1.5 belts and pulleys. Okay, so you did the upgrade to the 1.5 millimeter pitch instead of the 2 millimeter stuff. Seen a lot of people doing that lately as well, trying to combat like VFAs in their motion system. So, but yeah, I'm looking at this and going, huh. Like I may go over and make measurements of the Folger Tech while it's sitting over there. There's nothing here that's not. I've got stuff. Thing over here looking at a bunch of open builds V slot right now. I could easily put one of these frames together. And I saw somebody that's making aluminum, like 6 mil thick aluminum replacement beds and aluminum carriages versus this ACM panel stuff. Um, like full aluminum carriage like you would get with oh, what the hell's the printer? I just brain farted. But anyhow, it's the big thick aluminum single size CNC build plate. And yeah, I mean it's $500 for that set. So pulleys and rib dialers and everything. All right. So now a bit nuts. When you say finish your rat rig for you, I hope you're telling me that I have all of this and most of it's installed and not like somebody else I know that sounds like Chewy that says, I've got this frame and a bunch of parts. Oh, wait, I didn't send you all the parts. You know, I'm teasing. Chewy. Um, but yeah, it's been over 3 years, Diesel. Oh, I've been running to you to shows for over 3 years. You're getting a reprieve from Rocky Mountain just because neither one of us can actually travel at this point. But yeah, I'm thinking about building me one of these just because of the large build volume size and being able to do some bigger prints. I mean, that's another thought for a project that we've got going on in the back of this mind. Too many projects. Almost all installed, but I haven't put in the 4.1 gantry. The wiring killed me. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's fine. That is definitely doable. We can get that done for you. We had a call for a 500+ millimeter print today, but they wanted single part. I mean, there's a need. There is a need. And the only thing I don't like about, well, there's a few things that I don't like about the Orange Storm Giga, right? If I got an Orange Storm Giga, it would have to be a good deal. And, you know, it's going to get a Blue Storm Terra hot end on it from day one. It'll never run stock. Um, but I really would need to figure out where I'm going to put it so that we can run it. The Folder Tech, we can find a place. We can put it in there in the resin room and help keep it nice and warm in there. But yeah. The Giger never did run stock, did it? They, I'll tell you what, there is somebody right now, the Imperial Saint is her handle on Instagram. Her name's Doris. She does full size, full scale Warhammer like statues and prints and cosplay and stuff. And apparently she's in her recent videos, I've counted at least 3 Orange Storm Gigas that she has recently obtained. I don't know if Elegoo is now sponsoring her. I don't know if she bought them herself. Don't know, don't care. But she's got 3 Orange Storm Gigas, and they appear to be relatively stock. So she does not seem to me like somebody that tinkers with printers. She seems to me to be somebody that uses printers to print things. So I don't necessarily see her tinkering with everything. And I know that she has seemed to have gone from a lot of bamboo stuff to a lot of Elegoo stuff. So yeah, it's the Horus Lupercal, the War Master, and it's over 12 feet tall. And she had to go and get a crown forklift to lift the upper body up onto the legs and waist piece. Gonna be warm enough in the summer? Probably. Yeah, I know that Sandhills is wanting me to not build and get the Folder Tech up and running, that he wants to be part of the process, but I think we might just either wind up doing that, or I'm just going to start measuring and cutting extrusions. There's not that many extrusions in it. So I can put a frame together and I can start working from there, because I've seen the CAD and I've got a manual for it. So I mean, I'll take what measurements I need from him and then I'll work it myself. None of them work at any micro centers from what I've seen or heard. The Man Owl, I am shocked. I'll just put it that way. I love Micro Center. I love being able to go to Micro Center and get things. They're not there. Where are you reading that chat? You don't have a filter. I'm dual streaming to YouTube as well, Evil Diesel. And so I've got 2 different chat windows up. So I'm trying to keep chatting to both platforms. Yeah, the folks at Micro Center are really good in certain sections, and they're really good at picking your items and putting their code on it. I would not be going to Micro Center and asking them in-depth questions about 3D printers. For the most part, I wouldn't be asking them in-depth questions about PC parts either. And that's one of their big bread and butters. Yeah, I've walked in there and seen prints failing, and they just look at it and say, please don't touch that. And I'm like, but it's failing. Like, that's not what you want this printer to be showing people. Like, fix your stuff type thing. And, the Orange Storm Giga is not a take it out of the box, set it up, and hit a button and go. Like a Prusacore 1. I built the Prusacore 1, 13-hour live stream, came back the next morning, tensioned the belts, started to print, and went home. Like literally, I cleaned up my mess from the night before because I built it over at Ecovate, and I was trying to be, you know, a good content creator and clean up my mess. So I came back the next day before they opened and took care of all my garbage. I tensioned the belts, started a multi-hour print, and went home, knowing that it was going to print fine because that's what Prusas do. The Orange Storm Giga is not that. There's a lot of pain that goes into trying to get those 400 by 400 beds aligned well. And everybody I know that has one, and all the creators I watch online that are using them for businesses, some of them have spent days dialing in the build plate. Not hours, days. Elegant should nominate her for singing. Yes. Definitely an odd choice for them to stock and offer. Everything else is consumer print and go printers. Exactly. They're no longer the pillar of tech they used to be. They sell, but they no longer have, exactly. They don't have the knowledge. And that's one of the things that I talk to my customers that come in here is you may buy your printer from Microsoft. You may buy your printer from Best Buy. By the way, Best Buy doesn't have floor models. They sell online only, or at least the ones here don't, right? People buy stuff off of Amazon, right? Neither one of those sources are going to repair your printer. They will not repair your printer. They do not have the technical expertise to repair your printer. They're going to send it back, and at best, you're going to either wait or you're going to get a replacement printer, and they're sending yours back as broken, and it'll get refurbed and pushed back out to someone. They can't do it, and that's what we do. That's our differentiator right here. Is I don't care if you bought it from Amazon. I don't care if you bought it from Bamboo. I don't care where you bought it, because I've had several people come in here that say, "Oh, I just had my printer delivered. I bought it at Best Buy, or I bought it from Micro Center." I'm 2 hours away from Micro Center. So I don't know who's going to drive 2 hours to take a printer back to Micro Center and have it worked on, especially if they know that it's not going to come to them, right? Your Jettison need to make an evil diesel. Oh, gotcha. That's it. All right, full diesel. It's disappointing as simple it is to put them together, a PC, and put Windows 11 on it. Micro Center can only sell me parts I have already decided to buy. Exactly. And that's the thing is I've got several people that have come in here with Enders or a derivative, right? And they're like, can we make this thing work? I'm like, yes, I can make it work. But is your goal to learn about 3D printers and tinkering with 3D printers? Or is your printer a tool used to do something else? And as soon as they tell me it's a tool to do something else, then I look at them and say, hey, you don't have to buy it from me, but I would highly suggest you go out and look at a different printer that, you know, I carry brands that I am comfortable with. And when I mean comfortable with, I don't feel like a slimy, out in the sticks, used car dealer, you know, when I'm selling things. I mean, I am comfortable with using them on a daily basis. I have confidence that they're going to work. And if something does happen, I am here and I back them up. Period. Had a young kid came in here, popped down cash for his printer for his birthday. He bought his own 3D printer for his birthday. And they got it home. And I got some calls. They were having problems. It was a combo. They were having problems getting it out. They just misunderstood the instructions and they were trying to take different screws out too early. So it's like, okay, we talked them through that and we got them squared away. They came in the next day and they were still having some issues. And I sat down with them and walked them fully around the printer and how everything should be connected up, and realized that they had connected their Cheaty box up wrong, and got them squared away. Called them tonight, said, hey, I just calling to check on you and make sure that your son was able to get his printer up. I know how excited he was to come in and get his own 3D printer, with his birthday money and stuff. And I just want to make sure that he's having fun and that he's up and running. They're like, he's going. He's off and running. He's done all of the prints that are already, that come on the printer by default. And now he's ready to start slicing and going. I'm like, awesome. That's great. And they're going to come back and do some classes too. So, but see, that's my thing is I am small enough that I can still do the personalized service. I'm here to help, even if you didn't buy the printer from me. If it's a brand that I carry, I'm a warranty service center, right? And if it's something that I don't carry, I'm going to try and fix it. If you want me to fix it, I'll fix it, right? Trust me, I'm all about throwing good money at printers that I feel deserve more life or have, fundamentally speaking, if you guys were out at, I think it was 3D Printopia, there was an entire wall of the wooden Ultimakers and stuff out there, right? It's all vintage printers. And they were all printing during the entire show to the point where they were causing power problems for some of us. They were overloading the circuit trying to run them all. But I love seeing that. Some people are going to look at that and say, oh, that's throwing good money after bad. And I'm like, no. I've got my TiVo Tarantula, and I promise you, before the end of this year, it will be in this store running and printing. Right? Exactly. We don't want you fighting your printer. We want you to be able to enjoy your print. I have said this before. Bamboo made 3D printers. They made the closest thing in the 3D printing realm to the microwave oven. Anybody can walk up to it and within a few minutes figure out how to work it and get a print going, right? So I want people that come in and have that enjoyable experience, because the experience for most of us isn't working on the printer. Yes, it is. The enjoyment is what you can get out of that printer. You may not think it's a tool. You're just in it for what parts you can print out. But I've got a lot of struggling people around here that are using 3D printers for a side hustle income, and they don't have the time or the energy to keep fixing these themselves, because every minute that they're spending fixing a printer is time they're not working on a new design or marketing or whatever, getting prepped for their next event. And having a place that's local, that's willing to work with you on price and can get you down here and get your printer back up and running for you is a godsend. you know. Hey, free heathen, welcome on in. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's all about the enjoyment that you get off the printer, not some people like me, and I know Maker loves tinkering with stuff too, and Evil Diesel does as well. He's helped me a couple of times, and I've come and helped him out when he's got his printer like all ripped apart again, trying to work something out. But that's us. We're technicians from the Air Force. Like we love doing that stuff. That's what we you know sharpen our teeth on, and so that's part of the enjoyment for us. And I know that's not for everybody. They just want the results of a print. You know. So yeah, Diesel, we are going to be getting something bigger. Whether I build a custom printer that we can enclose so that we can do larger parts off of, or what, but we are going to have a bigger printer. It's coming. Yeah, I mean I've had one box that was damaged so bad that FedEx sent it back. All right. And it wasn't a printer. It was the shelves that we were going to use in the back for the mini print farm. And I still haven't replaced that order. I just went and took 2 more shelves from the house and brought them over here. Because all the printers that are sitting on it basically came from the house, so they were empty at the house anyhow. But that's it. We have had a couple of boxes that had damage, and our driver's like, that's how it was put on my truck. And he sat here, we took pictures, and we opened the box. He stood right here as I opened the box and made sure that nothing inside was broken. And I was like, okay, we're cool. Because in this case, it was Evil Diesel's. It was his Hager printer, and I was like, oh God, please don't let this be broken. There you go, H2 slicer, or H2O slicer. Yeah, I mean I've got enough people, like I said, around me that their enjoyment is the end result of the print, not the 3D printer itself. The 3D printer is basically the tool. And hey, Waters, how's it going? Waters, did you see my note that you got an email to the tech account? And can you verify that you got an email in the tech account? So a bit nuts. I have actually had some issues with FedEx delivery at my house. And quite honestly, I spend so much time here that even my personal packages I just have delivered here. And yeah, I mean, you build a relationship with your drivers. I know my FedEx and I know my UPS drivers on first name basis. They're the same ones here just about every day. And when they don't show up and somebody else is running the route, we're like, hey, is so-and-so okay? Is everything going all right? They're like, yeah, they just had to take a day off. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, I'm sure Waters, they probably looked at you and said, can you look at this? Like, I don't even want to try and take them off the truck. Oh yeah, our delivery drivers, and like I keep trying to get my FedEx driver. I know he 3D prints, and I'm like, dude, you got to come in here and buy some filament because I'm waiting for him to, so I can give him a hefty discount. Because I've had 3 people come in that know about us because he put cards on their printers when he delivered them. So got it printed it out and have. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, at some point I'll send her over tomorrow. She's already planning on going that way. I'm just trying to make sure that we've got uh, an EPAX pickup as well. So when she goes out there, it's doing it all in one shot. So yeah, but yeah, I mean that's kind of what's been going on here. Like I said, I apologize for not streaming, but with all the junk going on with my sinuses and the great pollination that has started and is happening, it's taken me a while to get on top of my allergies to the point where I can stand here and talk this long without having to sneeze, blow my nose, all that good stuff. So, um, I think I, if I remember what Waters told me, he's going to Rapid, and the boss is going on to Remurf, and he's got to come back. And I even tried to tell him, like, hey, we're not driving. If we go, we're flying. So no 30-hour car ride for you. Yeah. We did like a 27, 28-hour straight shot from North Carolina to uh, Colorado. Did the show where we just kind of ran ourselves ragged and then turned around and drove 30 hours back. Because me and Waters both had to work the next day. Yeah, I really wanted to get up to Rapid, but once again, it's just with everything going on this year with starting the shop and trying to build in the recurring business cash flows so that yeah, it's just business cash flow, right? Money comes in, money goes out. You got to make sure that more money comes in than has to go out. Otherwise, it's a loss-leading hobby. And with that and me having surgery in a couple of weeks on my sinuses, I can't travel. So um, Justin told me Beth or Bev. Yeah, but we're definitely I mean, having to fly is not that bad. Um, the drive's not bad. Me and Evil Diesel, we've done many a road trip together, so it was pretty much uh, just felt normal to us. Um, Names are not your strong suit. Yeah, don't worry. Took me a bit. Took me a bit to. It takes me, especially like tinkering techie. I know I've asked him his name 5 or 6 times, but for the life of me, I see him and the first thing that pops in my mind is tinkering techie. Same thing with Thunder Keys. So You may not be making it out to Remurf either now. I hear that visas are being an issue lately. Hey, Tinkering Techie, how's it going? Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Um, yeah, see that's I heard your handle. Yeah. I was just saying for the life of me, I know I have heard your name, like we've talked and you've given me your name 3, 4, 5 times. And every time I see you, it's like, oh, that's Tinkering Techie. Or uh the one you had, the Voron handle you had before. And I'm like, ah, just well, and you still call me Dragon, and you know what my real name is. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Like in the military, we're so used to calling everybody by their rank or rank and last name, you know. And we get out here, we start talking handles, and it's just one of the ways that we hear people, or we do that. All right, you got to run, Water. Sounds good. Dude, go hang out with your wifey. He gets mad when you don't do that. You might see me. I might come your way on Monday. Just heads up, Waters. Oh, we got flying down again. I'll be in town on the Thursday. Cool, free heathen. You're saying for Murph or Rocky Mountain? Yeah, you'll have to call me sir. Murph. Okay. Um. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're. I'm pretty sure we're making it to Murph this year. 3D Printopia. Um. We'll see. Honestly, I'm just not too keen on Philly because of the additional cost. Additional cost of traffic and everything. So, well, that's because you keep getting an aircraft that can't fly at very, very slow velocity. Not only that, but you get an aircraft and then purposely jump out of them, or at least you did. Yeah, it can fly slow because it's hovering, but as soon as that engine stops and it can no longer hover, it yeah, it just falls. The only forward momentum you have is if you already had it when the engine failed. um, but yeah, honestly, folks, it's getting close to 10 o'clock. I'm not going to stay on here too much longer. Tomorrow's going to be yet another fun day at the day job. Cybersecurity is great. No, it's not. Um, how you like to jump, controlled fall? Yeah, I hear you. Um, well, it's controlled as long as the parachute opens. If the parachute doesn't open, then you're just going down next to the big thing that's going to turn into a fireball. Oh, all righty. So let me check and see who may be up and running now. I want to say there should be a big Jano up. Um, I am not. I'm not seeing who's up. All righty. Multi-factor authentication. Something else that's great, but a pain. Who's up and running? Yes, there is a big Jano up and running. Awesome. Jano is on. Nice. All right. We're going to get ready and head over to Big Jano. If everything goes right, it's Thursday night. Yes, it is, which means it should be marble racing night. So definitely jump out there and get in on it. Yeah, so is defense until you get a stop work. So me and Evil Diesel were active duty Air Force. I retired out of the Air Force, or was medically retired out of the Air Force, and did defense contracting for 10 years out in Colorado. So, yeah, I know all about that. Contracts change, but the name on the check, it's really the name on the check changes. Contract work is still there, it's just under a different name. We flew from Dayton to DC in a C-130. I got one better than that, a bit nuts. I took C-130 from Germany to Philly. It took a lot of stops to get there. But thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. It's been good chatting with y'all. We will have something else to work on the bench the next time. And I will see you guys very shortly. For those of you on Twitch, we're getting ready to raid out. And for those of you on YouTube, thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.